color, I do the same. And I don't even bang. You holding up signs, I do the same. You chase the bag, I do the same. And I don't even bang, bang. You ride for your color, I do the same. And I don't even bang. You holding up signs, I do the same. You chase the bag, I do the same. But ain't no telling what the homie with me claim. And a hum with the 15s on thumb. Homie go dum 50 drum go thumb. And D-Lo ain't no punk. Who fuck around and wind up in a trunk. And don't mind me, I be living these.
Hey, don't pay that no attention. Don't pay that no attention. That's a technical difficulty from technically challenged people. That's all that is. Don't even worry about it. What's up, man? We got King Sick on the line, man. Time to bring him in, man. What's up, Sick? What's up, King Sick?
What up, Sick?
He probably thank you. He probably doing his social media sharing and all that good shit.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to get my people in here, man. You know what
I figured you was working your jelly, man. You do your thing, brother. Do your thing. We ain't tripping. We ain't kicked the ritual off for nothing. We was waiting to get y'all in here. At least one of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So what's up, man? How many of y'all coming to the birthday party November 27th at Ziggy's on 59th and Western? How many of y'all pulling up, man? Yeah, Smurf crazy. He know he ain't dead. They ain't crushing no John Marshall. Get the hell out of here. Get out. Boy, I'm a proud bear, man. I ain't gonna lie, I hated high school, but I'm a proud bear, man. I was just trying to be grown too fast. I should have took time to enjoy that shit, but instead, I wanted to be, you know what I'm saying, a Power Ranger.
Yeah, I felt like I tried to rush that shit. I should have slowed down.
Yep. I didn't do prom. I didn't do none of that type of shit. I was too busy trying to be an adult. I was on some whole other shit. You know what I'm saying?
I moved out at 16, so time to be grown. I feel that.
Facts. Same age. Same age.
Make me think about some shit, man.
What? Once you start getting used to bills and shit?
Yeah, there's no biggie.
You start understanding.
Hey, bro, I think we ready, man. I can't necessarily get them in on your chat.
No, if you get them in on yours and you sharing your screen like we was talking about earlier today,
that's what I got going on. So my chat, you ain't gonna be able to see my chat.
Well, one thing we need to see is your face. Like, we don't want to look at your hairline. You finally got a crispy one, and you took a great picture, but we don't want to see that. We want to see you.
You need to put your head up, bro.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. What? What? King Sick in the motherfucking building, man. Hey, man, y'all put some 100s in the chat for King Sick, man. Put some 100s in there, man. Put some 100s, man. We got him to pull up, man. Let me get some 100s in the chat for my guy King Sick, man. For real, for real.
Trying to get my life right, player. Trying to get my life right. Man.
It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. We happy to have you on the show, man. Hey, man, them 100s going up in the chat. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Everybody came to listen to some intelligent, intellectual, real conversation about some real shit. What's up, Shelby? I see you in the building. What's up, Shelby? Me and Shelby been having a very interesting conversation about physical and metaphysical and fact and fiction. I mean, fact and nonfiction. So, that was a cool little spout we had. We ended up understanding where each other was coming from, but not agreeing on certain circumstances, which is okay. That's how you want to have conversations. If you don't have to necessarily agree on everything. You know what I mean?
So only because it's your podcast, I'm actually gonna put it in there because I normally don't even, you know what I'm saying?
Hold on, you starting too early, nigga. It's a countdown and some more shit. Yeah, you gotta follow the motherfucking rules. No, put that out, bro. Put that out.
That's a jump.
I'm smoking a cigarette. That's the prep.
That's disrespect to the podcast, son.
No, it's not. Don't ever don't start with your narratives, Mr. Intelligence. I'm not doing that.
I thought you were putting something valuable in the air.
Hey, y'all, don't listen.
Them wasn't even new ports. Them was old ports.
Hey, why high yellow niggas always funny and shit? Goddamn high yellow niggas. So listen, how many people you got in your chat? You got enough people in your chat to get live? How many?
Let me see what I got. About 6 people over here, 7 people over here.
I bet we got 6 people over there, 7 people over there. Y'all ready for the ritual? Let me get some 100s in the chat for the ritual, man. We finna kick the ritual off. We finna get into it. Oh shit, we gotta stuff some cones and shit. Yeah. Yeah, we ain't even ready. We did because you know Ziggy's Smoke Shop and Dispensary sponsors put it in their podcast, Late Night Vibes, and also Hot Boxes. This is like a hybrid. This is like I call this Great Minds because it's one of them things to where we're gonna be discussing all kind of shit. You feel me? So I just called this one Great Minds. You know?
Understood. So if people don't know that you live in a state where the marijuana laws are very relaxed, and so we shout out to Oklahoma.
Took a long time to get there.
It was a long road, but we definitely made it. Thank God.
Yes. Yeah.
Shouts out to Oklahoma, man, for making it legal for us. And the crazy thing is, if you look at the total, crime then actually went down.
Well,
I mean, how many people you want to fuck with?
That's kind of because Oklahoma is what Oklahoma is, and Oklahoma is a state where they don't play that.
Yeah. Facts.
There's a lot of other places where the police is doing some stuff that I can only talk about they doing on TV, because I know they're not doing that in Oklahoma.
Facts.
They're still pulling your ass over for going 15 miles over the limit and all that good shit and all the extra shit with it too. Tail lights, signals, your shit better be up to par.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it real though. Since I've been back in Oklahoma since last November, as far as like the way the police bother and harass people, it done got real relaxed though. It done got real relaxed. You really got to be in a place where you kind of out of bounds and kind of out the way, and you really move in a certain way. And most of
you gotta be acting stupid.
Yeah, one thing about Oklahoma, man, is familiarity is real common here, because like if they work this area, they normally see the type of vehicles and shit that come in this area. You know what I'm saying? I noticed that by where I stayed on the South. Like, if you ain't from over here and you don't be over here, like you more than likely to get pulled over than the person that got their tag out in a cracked back windshield and ain't even got no license. So it's really more about how you move, where you move, and the time of day it is, whether you getting, harassed by the police. It done calm down a lot though.
I'll probably get pulled over on my way out.
No. What you drive? Something new?
Yeah.
Oh no, they won't even look at you. If your car is 2010 or newer, they ain't even gonna look at your shit.
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
That's the secret. You just gotta understand the environment. You know what I mean?
That's the secret.
That's why I drove my
wife's
car.
Hey man, you heard it first on Great Minds. Put it in our podcast with my guy King Sick in the building. What is your podcast called? We Are the Builders?
No, sir.
What's your podcast? Let everybody know what your podcast called so they can follow you and subscribe to your channel.
My podcast is actually called the Pro Black Breakfast Club.
Okay, Pro Black Breakfast Club. All right. And what kind of stuff do you cover on the podcast so they'll know, what to be?
We kind of tackle some of the topics that they tackle on like the Breakfast Club, but we try to attack it without, those Charlemagne-ish type voices, speaking on issues that really I think need to be spoken on by people a little bit more qualified than Charlemagne, the fraud.
The fucking fraud. That nigga's such a clown with that old funny ass cheap makeup they be putting on his face.
Yeah, man, he lost me when they came on the show and he had the little butt. You remember that when he had the mold of his butt made and he gave it to DJ Envy?
Yeah, that's some weird.
Boy, if that ain't some symbolic shit.
That's when you can no longer represent the community. Like I don't.
Yeah, you shouldn't even be representing your household.
We're cool, you know what I'm saying? Cool, you do your thing, but as far as you represent anything that got anything to do with us, I can't rock with that.
Facts. Well, man, You able to put stuff in the chat? Put your link to your podcast in the chat so the people in the chat can check you out, man. I've been knowing this brother for a long time, man. I will say, man, he's a walking encyclopedia. That's what I call him all the time. Super intelligent, super well read, super good on history. Like, it'd be a lot of stuff I have to stop him and be like, hold on, nigga, I got to go back to this because you lost me. So, and it ain't easy to lose me. So, you know, shots after sick and the stuff that he doing. He also got a school that he putting together. Almost. How far are y'all from being done with the school, Sick?
Man, we got 2 other properties that we just purchased. The school building location that we had some issues there, asbestos, and then, you know, some facility maintenance issues. So we kind of going back to the drawing board. We've got some properties from the county and the city, or located in the county and the city where this school was at. And it's really one of those things where politics is so important because, man, these people had a county board and a county board township. All right, I'll put my little thing in the chat. They had a county board township little government. So we go in and we sit down at one of the little city hall meetings in this place called Jefferson Township in Ohio. And, you know, we get to meet the people face to face. Everything's good. People love what we're doing because when you see this community, I mean, picture the raggediest street in Oklahoma City times 10. And, you know, like, I didn't realize, like, Oklahoma City might got some poverty, but it's just nothing like this.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, until you travel, you really don't understand how rough other places are.
Yeah, people really don't understand. Like, we got some hoods in Oklahoma, but, like, they're never as run down as I've seen in other places where it's just like, anyway, but so we're sitting at this board meeting talking to these people. Come to find out, like, the guy and the lady that sit on the board of trustees, they have an ongoing litigation amongst them. And one of the guys is trying to have the township pay for his legal defense. You know, damn.
So he assuming he gonna win out the gate.
Well, it was just the fact that he was unwilling to even pay out of his pocket for his own, you know what I'm saying? Like,
his own cause,
expecting the people to pay for it instead.
He wants people to pay for it. You know, you even being accused of something, which to me was, you know, that doesn't speak to being, you know, like real leadership, that you want to actually let the people pay for your legal defense, as opposed to you manning up and saying, okay, I'll take care of this on my own. And it led to, you know, like, the loss of morale. You got people coming in
questioning your character, all that type of shit.
Yeah. People trying to build additions onto their property, put sheds on their property. They're trying to do things where you have to actually deal with code enforcement and all that zoning, etc. And you couldn't deal with basic business. So I said, I'd say this, you know, we got something in the next township over, because I just, you know, the government there it wasn't going to be fruitful for us to continue to try to entertain dealing with that, among other things. But, you know, that's one of the things that I realized once you get into education and being in the nonprofit space, you know, we're not selling Yeezys. We're trying to sell people on improvement, infrastructure. You know, this shit ain't sexy when you start talking about pick up a hammer and a nail.
Facts, but it'll definitely put you in a better tax bracket if you prepare.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, the results that you're going to get out of it are undeniable. It's just the fact that we have created a culture where we say things like, people don't want those jobs. Oh, nobody wants those jobs. Well, who the fuck do you think was working those jobs before the people who worked the jobs got here?
Yeah, facts. Who you represent these jobs now?
And working them for less. You know, you got a picture, your average American worker was a black or a white male who was, you know, labor, who was working, you know what I'm saying, these labor jobs. And so they probably had, you know, 2 to 3 kids to feed. So trying to offer this American worker less than what the wage, you know, 80% of his wage means that his quality of life diminishes by 20%. But when you give that to a newly immigrated immigrant, that just means his ceiling is 80%. He hasn't even begun to explore what he can do with that 80, and particularly the fact that, you know, he probably doesn't have a boat that he's paying payments on to take.
All right, listen.
There's also a good chance that 40 to 60% is being sent back somewhere else.
Right, it's called remittance. Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
So before we get too far into anything, because people in the chat is starting to cuss me out because we still ain't did the ritual. So look, I already got some hundreds, so I don't need no hundreds. We finna do the countdown, and then we finna get into the ritual. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody, let's go to the moon, man. That motherfucker tastes like watermelon too. Hey, shouts out to Ziggy Smoke Shop and Dispensary.
Thank you.
2016 North MacArthur. Then you got one Southwest 59th, 9th and Western on the southwest side. Thank you for sponsoring. I got Watermelon Crawl. And you see what that Mountain Dew be doing to it.
Mountain Dew be strong.
Yeah, bro, got that Mountain Dew. Sick if you was here, you know, I would have one for you too. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you in town, I got you. We got the Big 8 birthday party going down November 27th at Ziggy's on Southwest 59th and Western. I'll have the flyer and the advertisement up for it soon. Don't even trip. But we got Alley Cat processing coming out. They're going to have some dabs for y'all to check out, stuff like that. The dispensary staying open till 12 o'clock, just so people want to purchase and do their thing. And then also, I got live performances from D-Lo, Jump the Godfather, Pineapple Stro, and of course your boy, Big A. You did. You know what I'm saying? Chicken Wings food truck will be out in the parking lot. And I'm also working on having the car show bring they, cars out, you know what I'm saying, to kind of give some people some eye candy to check out. We donating to 5 needing families for Christmas with proceeds from the event. So make sure y'all come and check it out. $5 entry after 7 o'clock, 7 to 12. It's going to be lit, man. So make sure y'all tap in, make sure y'all come. But back into what you was chopping it up about the 80% and the 60% and all this type of stuff. So like you said, 2% of that 80 diminishes the life of a person that's equally qualified for the person that's making that 80. So the fact that these people don't know to ask or fight for these things, a lot of people get shortchanged by not knowing what they really worth with these trades and not having the proper people to put them in these positions. That's pretty much what you were saying, right?
Right. On top of the fact that, we've had a shift in our culture. People will say it's technology, cell phones, etc. Which is true, I'm sure that's had an impact. But, at the same time, we've had a shift in culture where like men now, they know how to do administrative things. They don't really know how to do labor. And so the way the job market really first began, it was women who went into those administrative roles because men were already facilitating the labor roles. When you see women going into the workforce in the 70s and the 80s, that's what you see. So today we got, we just have an immigration problem. You're in Oklahoma, so I know that the people who are following this podcast recognize how the city has changed.
So let me help you right quick.
Uh-huh.
So the podcast is out of Oklahoma, but you got people from all over the country in the chat. Like we got some Michigans, we got some Virginians, we got some Alabamas, we got some Texas, we got a little bit of everything. And some of them come in and come out throughout the live stream. You might have some people come in, stay a few minutes. You might have some people stay the full duration. Late night vibes normally go. I try to keep late night vibes between an hour and a half and 2 hours, but I've had late night vibes go to like 3.5, almost 4 hours. So it
conversation goes.
Yeah, it depends on where the conversation goes. That religion conversation gets so deep, people don't leave. And that's just being honest, because everybody got a different perspective, and then a lot of information gets shared that people don't know. So just demographic wise, I just wanted to kind of, update you on that. They my people from all over the place. I'm pretty sure your people is too.
Absolutely. So
and for the people on your channel, if you haven't heard of or tapped in to Put It in the Air podcast, you can catch us at Put It in the Air podcast. The is THA, not THE, and we'll pop right up. You know what I'm saying? I had to spell it different because other people copying and all that other type of shit. So If y'all interested to tapping in Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 10 p.m., we got a segment called Late Night Vibes. It's open, subjective, non-judgmental conversation for grown people. So we all get in there and we talk about what we talk about. Sometimes it's a topic, sometimes it's just on the fly. But one thing it is a vibe, though. You know what I'm saying? So tap into that if y'all interested, and I appreciate it. Sub to the channel, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Go ahead, bro.
No, man. You know what I'm saying? Just when you
Your audio low.
from an Oklahoma perspective, you know,
Okay.
there's certain immigration issues. Like, for example, you could go to any 7-Eleven. You could go to any 7-Eleven in Oklahoma at about 6:30 in the morning, and you're gonna see a certain people getting ready to go with all those good jobs. That at a certain time when I was young, it was a different demographic of people working those jobs, and it was less people who were actually walking around out of these corners, you know, doped out, drunk.
Yeah, that's fact.
You know, you got to admit it's an odd scenario to look at a state and see its workforce be almost, you know, I don't even want to try to, you know, guesstimate the numbers, but overwhelmingly immigrant, and then see the residents who are suffering from substance abuse issues, alcoholism, and many of them being veterans and formerly fully, you know, employed people. And so these people are now standing on our corners, and in many cases, in order to get those drugs, you know, shoot. I know you always been in the cars, Big H, so I'm sure you probably got a couple cars hanging around the house. They come down, they stealing parts of your cars, out your car. And,
mufflers and shit. I just got some amps stole out one of my trucks, little bastards.
you know what I'm saying? And so we sometimes look at the crime and we demonize the criminal, right? We know about that being young men who've been through what we've been through in life. And so we understand how we weren't anybody special. We didn't come out the womb wanting to be a demon. There's a set of social factors that happen, and then it creates, you know, personality and characteristics, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where these drugs, addicted people who are then becoming the people who are committing all the property crimes. Not to say that there wouldn't be people who would be high and drunk out here in these streets, but when you consider where the drugs are coming from that the people are even addicted to, and it comes down the same pipeline that the people who are coming, who are taking over your workforce, you have to consider that to be an issue. You know, and that doesn't have to be a racial issue. It doesn't have to be a I hate Mexicans. There's a reason why there's a border, and Mexico has a Mexico, and America has an America. And we have convinced people at the bottom, poor whites and poor blacks who are liberal-minded, that they should side with the immigration agenda that serves against their own labor interests. And so when you see this hyperactivity in drug usage, drug selling, drug, you know, smuggling, drug killing, drug shooting, drug gang, you know, all these things surrounding the drugs, and we're pro-immigration and we're scratching our head and somehow it's racist to say that this is where the drugs and part of the problem is coming from. Like, you know, we at some point in time we can look racism right in the face, treat black people like shit, and then let other groups of people walk right across the borders and make exceptions for them to come and get programs that Martin Luther King had to damn near die just to get. So
question. You mentioned Martin Luther King. And I mean, I read Let the Trumpet Sound like multiple times. I think the idea of reading Let the Trumpet Sounds came from you, if I'm not mistaken. So do you think it's safe? Is it safe to say that segregation wasn't really best for us, or is it safe to say that it was the best thing we could have did?
Well, segregation happened at a time in America's history where, well, when the integration that ended segregation happened at a time where, when you go back and look at the statistical data from 1939 to 1954, Black student enrollment in college was up 2,500%, meaning over a 15-year period, the number of college students was up 2,500%. So if you break that down over 15 years, that's more than 100% a year. Meaning however many kids is in school in 1 year, the very next year, for a decade and a half, it was double. Like, imagine that type of growth happening And then miraculously, and at the time when black people were being hung and these other types, they being lynched.
Churches burned, all that type of shit.
Brown versus Board of Education is 1954, where we integrate the schools. And Emmett Till, the infamous case of the young boy who was murdered, that was 1955. So you mean to tell me at a time that people were lynching black people, that black people's solution to their education was to go to school with white people? At a time that we know that their schools were actually, people don't know this, they were superior to white schools. In the 1950s, last point, in the 1950s, a black student was more likely to have two parents in the home than a white student was in the 1950s. And the 1960s brings you civil rights, as if black people needed some drastic change in their family or any of those. We didn't need any of those things. We just needed white people to stop killing us. That was it. That's all.
Facts.
And so the racism changed in that we allowed the same people who caused the problem during civil rights, they now miraculously handed the ball off to themselves and said, we're the ones who get to solve the problem.
Fact.
It was a sleight of hand that happened. And when Martin Luther King said, I fear I've led my people to the burning building, which is what he was saying there, that's when they said, we can't have you out here speaking against the whole mind program that everybody fell in love with MLK. They used MLK. MLK realized he got used, he got killed. Because to have Martin Luther King say that the same people that said they were for us with this movement are actually the same people who are now against us would have got MLK, obviously killed, although he was dead. And the irony of it is the same people that Kanye is into it with right now are the same people who were behind MLK and were puppeteering him.
So before we get into the Kanye thing, so is it safe to say that segregation wasn't probably the best solution for us at the time? That not being segregated and filing as an independent, damn, what's the word?
Well, that's why he said like not so much segregation, but the integration.
I want to answer some of the questions in the chat. I want to answer some of the questions in the chat.
But I'm saying though, when you take away segregation is integration. Segregation is like a part of integration. Because you can't desegregate without integrating people. That's the whole point of stopping them from being separate.
Well, we're still segregated.
No. I think that the stuff that he was fighting for ended up being a lost cause because if we would have went in as an independent, what the fuck is the word? I can't think of the word.
Well, like he was saying before integration, black schools were the best place. And
that's what I'm saying.
What changed though once it was integration that the black schools didn't prosper anymore.
Facts. So it was better that we stayed the way we was and built that system.
Is what you got to think.
Well, a lot of stuff changed in the family,
and that's where it started breaking things apart, and people were less likely to go off. Like
so, it's safe to say that that shit really was counterproductive.
Well, the thing is this: when we look at integration, we have to first understand there's a man by the name of Stanley Levinson. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna show you something right quick.
I'm trying to make sure you ain't got no questions in the chat. Definitely some comments, but no questions yet.
Well, the young lady said, drugs are cooked by white people and black people too, not just Mexican or Hispanics. I would actually challenge by saying the Mexican and Hispanics ain't doing no whole lot of cooking drugs in America. It's mostly blacks and whites. They are, what I'm saying is the drugs are coming through Mexico. Now, how do I know this? The largest drug seizure in the history of the world for cash was seized by not only in Mexico, but by a Chinese Mexican citizen.
Let's say China has a lot to do with fentanyl. Like that is number one.
Well, that's exactly what he had. He had a legal connection to what they call precursors for methamphetamines.
To be able to cook it up.
And when they made him illegal, he still continued to get these drugs. And when I say that this was the largest seizure in the history of cash money, this is more than Chapo, more than
it's tons of worth.
What's the guy name?
Shelby, I think that's what he's saying is it's coming in through more than just whites, blacks, or whites and Mexicans. Like it's a bigger scheme to it. I think that's
it's not just Mexicans. We got to start talking about Colombians, Bolivians, Peruvians, and so
Facts.
when we look at even how
About
crack
American
cocaine,
government.
let's look at even how crack cocaine got into the black community. Crack cocaine got into the black community because the American capitalists feared that Nicaragua was becoming socialist, and being that Nicaragua sits in South and Central America, it technically is in the Western Hemisphere, and so the fear is that the Soviets would put some missiles and point them at Washington, D.C. from right below Mexico. So let's just cut to the chase. And so the reason why America was even over there putting money on one side of the war or the other is because we were in the quote-unquote still in the Cold War, right, in the early 1980s.
Yeah, that was the
But dealing with the
conflict.
effects, yeah.
Right, the Berlin Wall didn't fall until 87, I believe, 86, 87. And so at the time this whole crack cocaine thing was going on, there was still this negotiation between Reagan and Gorbachev over the nuclear armistice, right? And so because we are literally living in a nuclear time, again, this is where black people get treated like black folks. And I tell people all the time that the black community is the foreign policy toilet of America's government. Anytime America's government does something for the benefit of white supremacy or the white government, we become the toilet. And a great example is...
Hey, hold on, say that again, man.
I said the black community is the foreign policy toilet of America.
And that's shitty, man. That's shitty. It shouldn't be that way.
What the fuck?
Let's look at
Is it what people allow?
Black women go to a store to buy and purchase black women's healthcare products. She is purchasing these products from an industry that is owned nearly 80% by South Koreans, not North Koreans, South Koreans. How did and when did these South Koreans immigrate to America? Well, we had a war with the Koreans in the 1950s. And so I could get deep into it, but I won't for the sake of the podcast. Y'all just might, do your own research. But it was because they were ingratiating themselves to South Koreans. Because one thing that the Koreans proved to America in the Korean War, y'all talked about MK Ultra before?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what people don't talk about with MK Ultra is we make it like big bad CIA. No, America got their ass whooped.
Oh yeah, that was a lost war.
We had put that
fucking telling right home
mind control down on those American soldiers, and had American soldiers standing up and making videos, essentially denouncing America as an imperialistic power and condemning themselves, condemning the government. And so they was like, hold on, this is cold ass mind control. Because not only were these American soldiers who went to Korea and got flipped by the mind control program they had there before we had MK Ultra, which was the cause of MK Ultra, because America said, we got to have some shit like that. And so we got to understand that these same South Koreans, they had some leverage. They finessed their way into America. They finessed their way into America's economy. And they essentially created legislation that banned wigs being exported from China. They made it illegal.
White bitches ain't cocaine. Outlaws 24s everywhere I go. White bitches ain't cocaine. A bag Sunny Lane and a third chain. White bitches ain't cocaine. Outlaws 24s everywhere I go. Two white girls, two white lines. No Mariah Carey, still break them down. No marathon, but I run the time. Smith & Wesson on my hip and knock a hater down. But I'd rather party Swaley through the roof. Pineapple, Phantom Gin and pineapple orange juice. All white ones, red and yellow.